and gentlemen, welcome to the last session today, the last and best, hopefully. We have an excellent team here from Estonia and are going to tell us all about crowdfunding. They will introduce themselves and also say something about how they would like to do the session. Thank you. And everyone has to fill in the form because Sail Training International intends to be better each year. And this is the way to do it. So please. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Madis. I'm from Estonia. We're going to have a PowerPoint presentation that has basically slogans on it because, well, if someone reads from a PowerPoint presentation, they have neither the power or the point. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Ask them in the middle there, wherever. And with me here is Mai Ormus and Linda Maria Ormus, who is Estonia's Youth Council member in STI's Youth Council.
It's only Linda, not me.
And I will be recording marketing and giving you a first-hand look at how you can market your NSTO and how you can incite the crowd to be more involved, be more active. And so we're going to use a 360 camera, so don't be afraid. This is a friend. And my phone. So if it's in your face, just don't get offended. Smile.
Yes. And to begin with, a little bit about STA Estonia. We're, as a national sail training organization, we're really young. We began in 2011, and we have 71 members. We have private person members because in Estonia, a boat as such can't be a member of a non-profit organization. But the captain or the owner of the boat can be. And we do sail training. We promote sail training and organize our own sail training events and program. Also organize maritime events. For example, we did in 2013 a cruising company event in Estonia, which was run by STA Estonia with partners as harbors and cities. And next year we're going to do a cruising company harbor in Tallinn. The aim there is to build it up so that one day Tallinn would be main harbor in a tall ship race. But we have to educate them about what it is and how they should proceed to become one. And since 2014, we are running a project to renovate one boat. It's been long and arduous, but it's coming together. So we do quite a lot. And we will start talking about the marketing that we do and how we do it with Estonia. Estonia is a very small country in Europe. I think in European Union we have Belgium and Netherlands are smaller, but by size, yes, you are.
Are we?
Yes. But have no fear, you have lots of people compared to us. So we have only 1.3 million people in Estonia, which is, and something 900,000 of them are Estonian speaking, which means we are probably one of the smallest countries in the world that has Windows translated into their own language.
Which is a pain, by the way.
But yeah, you have to understand why we do marketing this way that we do. It's because of the background that we exist in. And the capital city is Tallinn, and EU member since 2004. So yeah, we used to be part of Soviet Union, so we have changed really fast in the last 25 years. How we find our audience is we started with social media. STA Estonia didn't have had a Facebook page, but didn't have a home page. when we created it in 2011. We didn't have a logo. Just go out there where the kids were at that day. And we use a lot of inclusive marketing, which means we use the material that the kids create. So if someone of our kids goes sailing, we ask them to write us a story about it. And we use that story, we promote that story, and through that find new kids. So, for example, Oman bursary schemes that I think Estonia has been, for the amount of people there are in Estonia, we've been really successful with, when the bursary scheme asks youth to give a reevaluation about their sailing adventure, then we demand the kids who go through us to the bursary schemes to actually give us a story that we can use. They can make a video, they can make a text file or slideshow, but they have to create something that we can later on use. And we have a quite good relationship with the press.
Yep. Actually, as a starting organization, it was quite hard, a lot of trouble to access the media, the press, because some of the journalists, friendly ones, said us that, as you all probably know, that the bad news sell better. And but still, people want to hear something positive as well. And as Madis already told, that we started with publishing our sailing stories by the trainees and also by our professional crew in the social media. Then people were quite interested in these stories, and we also reached some magazines or journals who wanted to publish our stories as well. And of course we didn't get paid for these stories, but we had a good opportunity to publish also our advertises and promote sail training and also the tallship races, which are the main subject we may tell of our activities and sailing.
Yeah, for us in Estonia, the sailing season is 4 months, from the middle of May till the middle of September. So you have to make use of it. And as we take part in the tallship races, then that is the jewel we build around our entire marketing. So that is a little bit more than your average sailing. You get over the news barrier, and then you get into get your contacts into the newspapers, and later onwards. At this point, we have, I hope that when she's watching that video that she doesn't get offended, we have our own domesticated journalist, which means we have gotten to this point that when they have no news, they contact us and say, you have good stories always, so how about you come and tell one? So that's a really good position to get into, but it takes work. And I would encourage everyone to use the tallship races, make stories out of it, try to get it into small newspapers that talk about sailing, maritime activities. We have 2 in Estonia, so 2 monthly, no. Quarterly, yeah. 2 quarterly newspapers, and we try to give them so that if we have a article in one of them, then the other one doesn't get it, and then the next quarter the other one has it. So they're always waiting for them, and we keep them slightly in deficit. So they continue to be interested, and we're not in every article that they have.
And what is also important is having good photos. Quality photos about young people in action, sailing, storm, sunshine, sunset. It is always good to have a lot of photos when you publish your articles or have your presentations. And also make public appearances, like you have to use every possibility to talk to people. So you could be invited to schools, to sorority, to any place that there is somebody who is interested in your presentation or could be interested?
Yes, we go into university sororities and make them theme evenings, because sororities get together, depending on sorority, at least once a month. They have a bigger gathering, and usually they have a theme there. So if you can get in there, it's a nice place to talk to people from age 18 to 25, which is still a young person in that aspect. And it is extremely important to have good material. We to promote your events. So
okay. So how to promote your events? First of all, what are the items for marketing? You could use almost every possibility for your own needs to have a marketing event. For example, when we wanted to make a logo for ourselves, we didn't hire a designer or a company to do it. We just announced a public competition. Everybody, you're welcome to participate. Send your ideas, and let's choose a logo for a non-profit organization, which should picture their activity, should be youth friendly, and actually we got more than 15 proposals and sketches from school children, from small children, from students, and
professional designers.
Yes, from designers, actually 3 designers for professionals. And and what is important in such competition, you have to take care of your paperwork. It can't be so that you're just advertising and you don't know what to do the copyrights later on when you have chosen the right logo for yourself. You have to give a prize to the winner of the competition, because of course it can be sail training related. We had, for example, as the prize the sail training trip from Tallinn to Kiel, and it took some 8 days, and it was a value to compete for. And actually the designer, his name is Erik Seeger, he was very satisfied with the trip and had sailed with us afterwards as well. And as a result of this competition, we got our logo. Why here is a small sailing boat? Because Estonian sail training yachts are small. Probably some of you know. They are not big ones.
We don't have any square riggers.
Yeah.
That's it. and then you have...
Slooping it.
What?
We're slooping it. You know, it's like kind of like slamming it up with Bermuda sloops.
Yeah. And then there's a very important thing about using technical gadgets. They tend to be expensive, but the important thing is that the youngsters who we want to bring to sailing are really technical. They are into innovation, they use those things, and if we would be using paper leaflets all the time, we would be prehistoric for them. So for example, Linda has in her hands 360 degrees camera. So when make a photo.
Yeah.
So when you hear that noise, then the entire room was photographed at that same point. And later onwards, the person can take their smartphone or virtual reality glasses and look around in that moment, or in the video. We can also make video. So next year when we go to Estonian Maritime Fair, we're gonna have virtual reality classes there. So the kids can pick them up, put them on, look around, and they will be sailing on Atlantic Ocean with dolphins. I can give anyone leaflet that would stay in their mind like that. It simply doesn't happen. Usually when you go on a fair, you take a leaflet, you put it in your bag, you go home, months later you find the bag, you place the leaflet into the trash bin and it's gone. The kids who are going to come to our fair next year are going to remember what they looked at. One year we had a life raft, an old life raft, and inside there was a cinema for kids, and we showed sail training videos there. So the kids went into the life raft, watched the videos, and saw sailing. Animated videos. For example, we use every year we create an animation of where the boat is going to sail, not a photo of the map, but actual, map running. There's a point, going to cities, and later onwards the kid is going to see, oh, I'm going to be sailing there because, well, there. If we think people know where Fredrikstad is in Estonia, no, they don't, unfortunately. And social media. We have a very good strategy in social media, which means we roughly boast one kind of sales news and two pure fun news in the middle there. If you go only sales, if you only talk about your agenda, then people are going to be dropping off because the information is very one-sided and it feels like someone's selling to you. But you should use a combination. You should put fun material up and then sell. For example, we had a drop-off of 2 people on the last leg in September when the boat was coming home to Estonia this year. 2 people failed to come. We posted that in Facebook, and 4 hours later the boat was fully booked again. So if you have a good audience who listens to it, then it works. And
credibility.
Yeah, and we're also live right now on Facebook, so you can find a way.
And I would like to talk about credibility of the news. Everything concerning the serious news what you publish should be accurate information. So you can't allow that you will make any mistakes in the names, in the situation, in the ports you are going, about your ETA. If you don't know it, don't write it. Because it is very important that the readers, your fans out there, know that every word that you will publish will be true. If there is a situation when you have published something that has changed, you should immediately turn to your audience and tell, oh, I'm sorry, the correct news is this one. Because behind it is the reputation of your brand.
And as I was before said, technical solutions. Try to use as up-to-date as possible. If nothing happens wrong, let's say weather-wise, then next year when we will have the cruising company
in Tallinn.
Then every boat that comes into the harbor will have a drone in the air, making something like that live, because through a tablet to Facebook, live video with a small bulletin. This is the boat coming in, it's from that country, it has so many trainees on board, so much sail area, and that grows interested audience.
And it also promotes your vessel, because you can, or your media person can share it on the social media.
you feel that the video is a little bit jumpy, not smooth, like edited in the studio, that's because it's edited on the tablet. Without studio, uploaded half an hour later than the boat arrived in the harbor.
Just a question, is that possible? Okay. I'm from Harlingen, Ariementjes. We organized it in 2014 and we tried to work with drones. Because of security measures, this was forbidden because we also had the safety helicopters in the air. We had some F-16s in the air. So we were, it was cut down.
Yeah.
How do you cope with this strictly requirement?
Thing is, I know the person who helped design the Estonian drone law. So we have a very simple way, for example, in our country, it is very simple to get the permit to fly. Okay. Basically, you have to pre-order it 2 days, and then you get, if there are other aircrafts in the area, then you get limitations. So if you have an helicopter up at 200 meters, you have a drone up to 50 meters. You can't go higher. And that's fine. Helicopters usually don't come down to 50 meters in crowded places. They are high above. And this video never went above 30 meters. Why?
No restrictions.
Sorry?
No restrictions.
We only have to inform the flight.
Yes, we have to have
but
permit
that is very much about the.
And that's also done online, like most in Estonia.
Yeah.
I like the idea very much.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if you had a population of 18 million, that you would have those restrictions.
Yeah, probably.
It might be.
Even in Belgium, this is a problem.
And as you saw, the video had our brand in the down below corner. So if you have a brand, ship or an NSTO, you should always use it and use it correctly. It has to be there. It has to work. Everything you give out should have it on it. And you should remember that the brand is not a photo. The brand is the promise behind the photo. So everything that has that sign on it has to be top quality. Because if you make a sailing trip under STA Estonia and the trip is bad, it will reflect on all of our activities. You can't do that. You should always keep it clean, keep it up to what you want it to be. As Mai said, if you send out incorrect information, it actually damages the brand, and the people later on will not associate with it. And we have, you don't have to have very expensive solutions. You can have flags, bandanas. Don't make leaflets, make small boats with your brand. People tend to pick them up the same way they pick up leaflets, but they are different. They will remember it. And up to this, that our boats have a logbook that is branded by our brand.
And it's also very important what is the visibility of your brand. For example, if you make something small, like a pen or a thing to put under your glass of water or beer, then you see, probably at home with you, some of your friends, your parents, whoever. But if you make a bandana, you go with your crew to say a cruise parade during the tall ship races. They are all wearing it on their head, neck, wherever, and everybody sees it. It will be in the photos as well.
Yeah, they will go out with their friends skiing. They will wear it. They will sail around the planet. They will wear it. We have Polish ships going around the globe right now, and they put up photos with our brand on it. The audience is Polish there, but the same thing applies when you have a thing that is often used. T-shirts are not that often used, but a bandana that is you can put around the neck put around your head is a perfect tool and doesn't cost anything. I think with everything, transportation and that made in China, it costs something like 70 € a piece. So you can order bulk. And well, about our sponsors, we basically have one bigger sponsor, that is Port of Tallinn, because of the beginning of the presentation showed the country is very small, not that many people, not that many big companies that would sponsor, or all the big companies are already occupied with other causes that they sponsor. And it has been really hard for us to find ways to make ourselves attractive for sponsors, for the reason we do most of our things abroad. A lot of sail training goes to Portugal, Spain. In Estonia, then it's only what they see in social media. So it's been difficult, and we do have some cooperation with companies, but that's about it. And Port of Tallinn actually sponsored our new mainsail, and that brings us to our crowdfunding topic. We needed a new jib. We had the mainsail, but the jib was 30 years old.
Worn out, basically. Yeah. No good for racing.
If you want to race, it didn't work that well, and even for basic sailing, we went around Naissaare, which is in Tallinn Bay, and the weather wasn't that bad, but it started to rip. So we needed a new...
Oh, come on, let's be honest, they ripped it. Just straight out to pieces.
Yeah, but we needed a new jib, and with the sponsorship money being as it is, we had to find a different location for the money. And we found crowdfunding. Actually, we thought about it 2 years ago, and finally decided to make the project this year, after being in Quebec, Canada, where the Americans talked really openly about their crowdfunding project. Until that, we were unsure. Would we manage? Could we get the money? And they kind of reassured us. We made the project, and it worked. And I went over to crowdfunding as an industry. In 2010, the entire world crowdfunding budget was $800 million. In 2014, it was $16 billion. In 2015, it was $34 billion. 2016, it will overcome venture capitalism. And 2017, by estimates of World Bank, it will be more than 90 million billion, sorry, US dollars. Billion.
$1 billion. A lot of money.
So if anyone says there isn't money, there is. You just have to find a way to get it.
Is this the request, or is this the amount raised, the figures you got?
Amount raised, the actual turnover. And I think small crowdfunding platforms, for example, what we use, doesn't report to there. So it might be even bigger, because this comes from probably the really, really big ones. So as you can all probably see, there are quite a lot of them on different, for different causes. You have Kickstarter, probably GoFundMe, Indiegogo, and so forward. And down here is Estonian crowdfunding platform for sports, Stardibike and Hooandja. And if anyone wants them later onwards, on that presentation there will be a link to Forbes website that shows the biggest crowdfunding platforms, and on their specialization. It's always there's no point in going to a crowdfunding site that tries to deal in real estate when you want to do something for a non-profit organization
or a startup.
Yeah, so you should always try to.
So how we started with our crowdfunding project. As Madis already told, we had a kick from Quebec conference, where the Americans very convincingly told everybody, not us only, how to start with your crowdfunding project, what to do, and how to manage the project, and how we started it. As Madis told, we needed a new Jeep badly for our sales training yacht St. And therefore we prepared a plan for our crowdfunding. This plan concerned firstly the presentation, what we wanted to publish, and then of course the amount of money what we wanted to raise. As Estonia is quite a small country and the Jeep is not a cheap thing to buy, we thought about the basic amount we need, and we also asked from sail makers offers for this Jeep, and started the project Hooandja. It's quite difficult to pronounce, but it means like basically like a Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Somebody who pushes you to.
But in Estonia.
Yeah.
Yep. The thing was, we took the budget. If anyone wants to know, was for most of you probably is quite small. We only needed to collect something like 3,600 euros. It's not millions, but the beginning of the presentation told the background. So probably if we would have went and said we need 30,000, we would have failed. So when you make a project, make it as realistic as possible. And what I've looked over, usually the projects that have a very clear beginning and an end result that is touchable, visible, those are that work better. If it's probably if we would have gone, help us promote sail training and give us 3,000 euros, they would have said, no thanks.
Also, you have to take into consideration that if you start a crowdfunding project, then usually how it works is if you do not meet your goal, you give the money back.
Yeah.
So that means if you set very unrealistic, huge goals, then you just fail in the end, and then you will have no money. So rather make it a bit smaller than too big.
And there was one more issue, as this was our first project. We wanted it to be successful. Because, yes, badly wanted. Because always people who support such platforms and projects, they always look at the history, almost always look at the history of the organization, of the person who is setting up the project.
Yeah.
And if you have failed already once or twice, there is the probability that you will receive the funding is less than when you have always successful projects. So you have to plan it very thoroughly. And
that was the reason probably why we didn't do it 2 years ago, was that we were afraid if the first one fails, it will reflect in future. If I have another great idea, I want to get crowdfunding for it, and if the people go like, oh yeah, STA Estonia, they did this project, did not meet its goal, and now they make this project, it reflects on you. So we needed it badly on two reasons. We needed a new Jeep, and we didn't want to fail on it.
So always keep in mind that the brand has to be represented in the most positive manner. So even if you're doing a Kickstarter program, then the brand has to be there all the time.
If you are gonna make a crowdfunding project, I recommend for anyone who isn't from the United States and UK, I recommend you to use your own country's websites, because let's be honest, as a national sail training organization, we collected money from Estonians. We probably had 2 or 3 people from abroad who financed us, good friends. But you should. It's always easier to do it in your own country. So you should look at the websites that you have and build up a really good understanding of pluses and minuses. And for example, we had 2 websites. One was Hooandja, more more like culture projects, a little bit of sport, but culture, new bands, if they want to give out record, they ask money there. Riders, youth projects, riders ask money there. And then we had purely sports site. And when we went over the pluses and minuses, we reached the point that it's better to go with the Oanja that has a wider audience than to go with the very narrow sports site. Probably with the sports site, we should have done a lot more marketing to get it rolling, because on a sports site you have people there who are usually invested in one or another sports activity. They're not open. If I play tennis, well, probably I'm not gonna support sailing. I will go and support some tennis school. They are already kind of like used. So I wouldn't even recommend a sports crowdfunding platform for sail training. I would go with the general one. If your country doesn't have a crowdfunding site, you have a really good business idea, because they take money for certain amount of your budget. They will take for themselves. So you should make that site then. So in your budget, you have to account for the thing you have to make, the amount they take away, and the
possibility that if you don't reach the target, then think about it. Are you ready to invest yourself to have the rest of the money?
We had a backup plan. If we're 500 euros short, one of us is gonna contribute 500 euros to it, because it's better to have 3,000 collected money and 500 of your own than have none. So it's also good to keep in mind that, well, you could say cheat the system, but and yeah. And also, usually you have to give something to the people for their contribution. So we had 7 different sums that people could contribute with, starting with really small ones, 5 euros, 25 euros, 50 euros, and going up. And probably the biggest private person contribute was 500. So one person contributed 500. But the bulk of your money, the 60% of your money, is gonna come from the small amounts. And basically what we gave them was a thank you letter. If they supported more than 100 euros, they got a sailing trip with a friend and our calendar, which we make anyway every year. So try to use if you have things that you make anyway for your partners and sponsors, try to use the same thing. Brings the budget down.
And of course, the main thing that we offered to our contributors was to put their name to our sail. And now you will see a video. Unfortunately, there is no subtitles due to a technical error.
You can learn Estonian really fast.
Yes.
We'll manage.
Yeah. I strongly recommend make a video, because it's people are very different. Some like to read, some like to watch photos, and some don't like to read at all, and you need to give them it in liquid form.
Yes, we had both. We had a text on this Oanja platform and also a video. Video is taken in our SDA offices. New sail to the
tere, kallis Oanja! Kutsume sind toetama Eesti noorte purjetamist ja sõna otseses mõttes andma hoogu Eesti purjetajale CD. Noortega olen peret sõitnud tegelikult mitu aastat ja selle tunnistuseks on minu selja taga olevad autasud erinevatest aastatest, kus CD on osalenud Tootsi presside vägile. Purjete sõidud on sõidud, kus saavad osaleda 15–25 aastase noore. Nad ei pea meretuulest teadma midagi merest ja purjetamist.
Madis explained about what we are doing, and then he also showed that we have a lot of different prizes here. and also the picture about our crew getting a cup
It's
for
always good to have trophies.
race results.
They
And
don't let
so-
us come home if we don't have one, so it's quite difficult.
And actually, maybe it is because Estonia is a small country, very few people there, but it is very important for our people to know that we are successful. And therefore, the cups and the prize giving ceremony is quite a good marketing issue for our sale training.
Yeah, it
People
gives
want to contribute to a thing which is successful.
it gives credibility. Well, otherwise you would be just talking about a sale, but you can say we actually do something, and there's some proof.
A little bit.
ja küllap teavad, et vesi on märk ja tuulega loosub. Meie sõidud aga viivad meid Atlandi ookeani, Põhjamerele ja Läänemerele, kus oleme kohanud nii tuuleväikseid ilmasid kui ka väga tormiseid.
That's the old one.
Aastaid meresõit Atlandi ookeani, Põhjamerel ja Läänemerel on St Tiivarale esipurjele saanud saatuslikuks. See puri on välja veninud ja ei anna enam võistluses seda, mida oleks vaja.
Yeah,
Selle jaoks pöördumegi teie poole. Oleme pannud üles proovindele, kus palume abi 3002.
so for example, when I was talking what happened to the old sail, why we need a new one, we put the stormy shots behind it so that people will see what actually happens to the sail. Otherwise, they don't understand what stress it has today.
And in this platform, they have no possibility to ask easily questions. They have to write their email.
Mille eest toodame uue purje ja kõik toetajad, kes toetavad üle 10 euro, saavad sellele purjele ka oma nime. Teatavasti on aasta 2016 Eesti merekultuuri aasta. Kuid merekultuur ei ole vaid rannikul või ranniku vetes, vaid merekultuur on igal pool, kus on mõni eestlane, kes sõidab merd. Ja meie viime noored merd sõitma see aasta kuni Afrikani ja siis tagasi Eestisse.
Toetades St Tiivile uue esipurje ostmise projekti, aitate meil jätkata noortele suunatud purjeõppesõitude korraldamist ka tulevikus.
Kõik, kes toetavad uue purje ostu, saavad endale tänukirja koos meie vana purje tükiga ja mainitakse ära purjeõppeseltsi kodulehel. Kui sa panustad üle 25 euro, trükime sinu nime uuele purjele ja kutsume sind purjeõppesõidule Tallinna vahele. Mida suurem on sinu panus, seda põnevam ja pikem on purjeõppesõit, kuhu me sõidame. Meie suurimatel toetajatel on võimalus saada 10-päevase purjeõppesõidu Cuxhavenist Tallinnasse.
Mida teed selle purjega?
Ribadeks sõidame.
What will you do with this sail?
We're gonna break it. That was pretty much the end of the video.
Yeah. So we decided to end with a joke. Actually, it wasn't so planned, but as it was quite a lot of work to do this video, so they all were tired. And when Margus, who was behind the camera, asked Madis the question, then it was automatically that.
We'll sail it to shreds.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, kind of did this summer.
They broke the new sail.
Yeah.
Done, grateful buggers.
I sewed all
She did?
that together. Yeah. I'm also the chief officer on board St. T. I'm afraid I'm the one that broke it.
So yeah, it's make a nice video, give some credibility to your organization, show what you're gonna do with the sail. Go on Atlantic Ocean, sail there, animate it if you can. It's not that complicated. I can give you the YouTube link that explains how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're any good with a computer, you will learn it in 30 minutes. And yeah, so when you make a project, make it a real thing that can be seen, touched, and people can understand the piece. We're gonna try a project later onwards with disabled people to make an Estonian disabled people, send them on Dionysius or Lord Nelson. We'll see how that works, because it's not that physical. It's not something that actually exists. I'm not. Maybe one day I will talk about that. But make a budget as realistic as possible. Don't ask too much. try to get through with the money that you actually need. The good thing about most crowdfunding platforms is if you get more, they still give you the money. We made 112% of the project budget, so we came over the limit that we put for ourselves, and basically the extra paid for the fee that the India took. So it's all good. And make a video, website that people can come to, and
it is important to have mailing lists because you want to promote the project, your crowdfunding project, and therefore you need to reach your members, and the more directly you reach them, the better it is, and therefore have mailing lists. You can have separate mailing lists, for example, to people of different ages, up to 18 to 25 to 30, to parents maybe, and so on. And what is one more thing that is important, this is right timing of the project. Usually before Christmas and after Christmas there is no sense to publish such a crowdfunding project because people are broke, yes. A lot of Christmas gifts and then
guilty donations,
yes.
ease the conscience.
But maybe in spring. For our project, the minus was that we had very small time to produce the sail. But anyway, for sailing, spring is better time. And the other issue is that when you publish your project, what is the payday in your country? Do people usually get paid salary in the end of the month or first 10 days or the next month? You should know that. And you should publish the project when people have money.
Or make it so that it reaches 2 paydays. We published the project on 10th, which is usually Estonia's payday, and it was 5 weeks, so it crossed into the next month. And so, well, if a person doesn't have free money for the donation on the first month, they still have time on the next month to donate. We actually had some kids who had that problem. It ended up people wanted their name on the sale very much, and then we had some kids who, the project was long done, the sale was already in the sales makers and was being made, and we had not sent the design yet, and the kid comes, Madis, my friends are on the sale, I have to be also. Can I make a donation now? It's like, fine. But so certain things work rather well. And make...
one more thing, keep your fan base clear. In Facebook, social media, they offer you all the time the possibility to advertise. You have a nice photo, pay €5 and make an advertisement, and you will get another 5,000 people to like it and like your page and so on. Actually, it may work that you get the fans, but they are not your real fans. They do not give the like to your activity, but they give the like to this photo. And if you have a large fan base based on such advertising, you cannot calculate the possible number of people who will support your projects when you make crowdfunding.
Yeah.
Therefore, we have almost never, maybe once we have advertised our sale training in Facebook advertising, paid advertising.
For this project?
Yes. But it was already when the crowdfunding project was running. So we just were looking for people who could donate for the project.
It's better to have 1,000 fans on Facebook page that are really into what you do than 5,000 who are mildly into, because Facebook doesn't give the information to all of your followers. Only some get the information. And if they activate on that information and share, then it spreads out and more of your fans see it. So if you have rubbish likes, trash likes, then they're useless. I would never recommend promoting photos just for that. And it's as we said before, you have to have some gifts, some things that you give. So we had thank you letter, possibility of being on the sale,
calendars, sailing trips,
and so forth. And it's great if you have a final event for the project. For example, we wanted to make a public first appearance of the sail before St. Eve goes to the races. But there was a small thing called Olympics this year, which meant a lot of Olympic sailors had budgets, which meant all of them bought new sails, which meant the sailmaker didn't care about our sail. And we were in Antwerp when the sail arrived in Antwerp. So we saw it there first time. So the Estonian public first kind of hoisting didn't happen. But it's always great if you can do that. That would be the great place to thank the people and tie them closer to you. Maybe some of them will contribute to future.
We basically did a final event for the project 3 months later when St. Eve arrived to Tallinn.
Yeah, the video that you saw in the beginning had that sail on it.
It was actually okay because we constantly gave feedback to our contributors, which is also important because if a person donates money, actually he wants to know what you have done with it. And therefore, if you are late with this result as we were, you should inform them what stage.
And keep them in loop.
Yes, the sail is and when it will be ready and when you can see your name.
The feedback actually has to work all the time. So, as I said, I recommend starting the project near a bay day. That gives you the possibility of 2 days after the project has started, and you can put up a post. We reached 25%. So you always have to kind of make those small in-between posts. Yeah. Crowdfunding works if you promote it. If you just make it and leave it on the site, it dies. It means that all of your board members, all of your professional sailors, all of your trainees that you can activate must like, share, and talk about it. And if you have a board member who doesn't like, share, and talk about it, I think you should change that board member. Yeah. Because if it is your project and your own people don't believe in it, then nobody will. And give small bulletins. We're at 50%. There's 10 days to go. Everybody, push.
Yes, actually, the last push came with the last few days. We were I think at 90% or something, and we were like really sweating already. Like, oh my god, we're not going to make it. And then we put up the news, and it got very, very fast traction, and it started to come in a lot more money in the last few days. And
people donated when we had the sale already. We had 100%. People continued to donate because they still wanted to be a part of it. So keep it going, and the faster you can grow and show it that it's alive, the better it is. And usually the crowdfunding sites, because they get some of your money, they put the more active projects, they kind of lift them up, put on a better position. So it's good to know and keep in mind. And final event. And
we have quite a few time left. So if anybody has a question about the safe crowdfunding project that could be their own project, then.
For example, I give you a hint. We did the sale. We would love to have another sale. Boats have more than one or two, but I wouldn't recommend doing the same thing again. So the next one I think is gonna be, let's send 3 Estonian disabled people on Lord Nelson or Donations. Don't know which yet. We'll see. But we will try that, and maybe we will make a project for Vesta also, because it's a different thing. So if you have anything like that in your head, I'd encourage you to go forward with it. There is money in there, so go and get it. I
have a question.
Yeah.
Your recommendation is to keep it national, huh? So the Estonians pay for the Estonian sale.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good recommendation, I guess, but why not spread it internationally? I can show you an example. Paul the Noble, known from Tres Hombres, he's now building a ship in Costa Rica. They had a crowdfunding site all over the world from Kickstarter, and they got 31,000 Canadian dollars from all over the world in pieces of 100 or 50. It was done in 2 months.
I'm not saying if you have an international project that you shouldn't use the international sites. I'm saying from a National Sail Training Association's point of view, a national site is probably better. But
and for a small project,
yeah.
Actually 3,000 is small.
Sorry?
You did say except in the US or the UK.
Yeah, because Kickstarter and those are based on US and UK. Well, the language, there is no language barrier. You can use them.
Yes, English speaking people usually don't contribute to projects which name is difficult to pronounce, for example. Or I did that thing that
those 2 minutes of video, I don't think any English people would have contributed to it, simply because they didn't understand it. And if I want to get from Estonian people the money, then I have to talk in Estonian, because otherwise they would be like, why? Why is he talking in English? He's doing it like for us, but in English. Doesn't work.
Yeah, but last but not least, hopefully, is youth involvement and how to get youth involved in your marketing, how to get your trainees to do a lot of the legwork for you. And I think that's something probably a lot of you would be interested in. And let me introduce to you our new best friend. It's called a smartphone. And actually this summer we had a really good experience with it, that a lot of kids nowadays have very fancy phones, and the more they post, the more they tag you, the more they like you and share the things, the easier it is. But the question is, how do you get them to do it? How do you get them not to just go like, selfie? And how do you get them to tag you? Is that you have to have mutual interest. You have to engage them on a level that they can relate to. So in that sense, it might have been weird for you guys, for me running around with a phone, taking pictures of you and like doing the 360 thing. But for kids nowadays, it's completely normal. And the whip or cookie part, that's my favorite part because I like the whip more. Sorry. Now, actually, it's what we mean behind the whip or the cookie is that when you have kids on your boat, doesn't matter big boats, small boats, you can give them little incentives if they use their own social media to promote your social media. So, for example, this summer we had our trainees go out in town, do the cultural activities, post pictures online, and later they came back home and we had a really nice dinner, for example, for it, because every time they took a picture and shared something, we gave them a little bit of a prize or an incentive in the way of having something nice or some more time off. It was like, either you go scrub the deck or you go promote social media, so which one your youth would choose. So in that sense, it's very easy.
Great youth. And the other thing, we also used the whip and the cookie in crowdfunding. But we put the names on the sale, so you know people who have sailed with you, and it's like, Kristen, you know, Taavi has his name on the sale. He went and made the contribution. He contributed because his friend name was on the sale, and I kind of like nudged him. You're gonna leave it at that, really? So. Yeah.
In youth involvement, don't be afraid to give your youth, especially if you have your own youth organizations like Finns have Snupu, to give them access to your Facebook accounts. Because, for example, with Sti Estonia, a lot of our marketing goes through Facebook. That means I have my watch leaders who are all connected with their phone via Sti Estonia. So every time they post, it looks like Sti Estonia is posting. And that makes our lives a lot more easier because we don't have to sit there and go like, I have nothing to take a picture. Maybe take a picture of my toe, you know?
But you have to teach them
how to do it, yeah.
The first part that we talked about, be credible. If you give the access to a lot of people, then the information might get soggy. So they have to know the values of the brand and keep to that guideline. So.
And that's usually why having a watch leader program or an alumni program, so youth that work with you more closely on your boats, to get access and give them access so they can promote your brand, because they will have 100,000 more friends than you will have yourself on your Facebook.
And then in the end of it, I have a fun idea. I can't do it because STA Estonia is too small. We can't create content enough. And probably there are quite a lot of ships that create some content, but not enough for this to work. So there is a site called Patreon. And it's meant for people who create online material, videos, like video blogs or travel journals, so forward. And it works really simply. I make a YouTube video and I call people to donate to me so I could continue to make that YouTube video. On all of my videos I will promote it, and I agree with people that in some form, in 2 weeks, in a week, I always put up one video. The person goes on the site of Patreon, says I will donate to that video or that blog $2 per video. $2, let's be honest, €2. None of us will notice that it's lost from our bank account. But we get the video that we like to watch. And for example, White Spot Pirates, a German girl in Caribbean, has a small boat, sails there, does a lot of solo sailing, puts up a video a week, has 290 patrons, and collects $894 per video. Multiply that by 4, you see how much she makes in a month. Telos, a video blog from a yacht that is right now somewhere in the Indian Ocean, sails around with its crew. Some of it is
American yacht.
American captain, but the crew is from Sweden, from New Zealand. International crew, yeah. They put up video every 2 weeks. They have 1,556 patrons today, and every video they collect $5,873. Not bad. So there are yet another layer of crowdfunding that we could use. Probably not STA Estonia, probably not Staff or Snoop or small organizations like that. But I think if we would create guidelines of what kind of video to create, probably we couldn't have alcohol drinking and nudity in it. But basically, if we create guidelines, and for example, an anonymous organization called Sail Training International is the owner of that account and collects those videos from all the NSTOs, for example, and puts them up on a regular basis. Let's say in the beginning, once in 2 weeks, later onwards, once in a week, and asks people to come patron. And how many weeks do we have in a year? 56? 52? Oh, sorry. 52. So let's say the STI should be able to, I don't know, at least be somewhere here. 52 weeks, $1,000 per week. We have another Oman bursary scheme. And trust me, if we would create a bursary scheme that people could support and later on would watch the videos of their supported trainees, I think we can get more. And it's kind of like it's gonna be a blog video of a youngster's sail training experience. It can be done. Just an idea into the end of it.
Great idea.